Hello, and welcome to The Experience Local with Russ and Scott. Each week, they bring you conversations with local Christian businesses and business owners. The Experience Local is brought to you each week by wonderful sponsors.
Copper Rock Real Estate. Commercial and residential real estate in the Mid-Willamette Valley. CopperRockRealty.com. Independent Merchant Brokers. Low-cost and no-cost debit and credit card processing. 877-460-4747. IndependentMerchantBrokers.com. Join Boson Hub Digital Development in supporting Kicking Cancer. Kicking Cancer provides support, education, and resources for cancer patients, survivors, and families. Kicking-cancer.org. Avamere at Albany. Enjoy your retirement and maintain your independent lifestyle with the support and amenities to make life a little easier. Learn more, avamereatalbany.com. Discover Oregon Real Estate. Tim Rist on the web at dore.llc. Find your people, find your home.
And now, your hosts for The Experience Local, Russ and Scott.
And that's you and me.
Woohoo! Here we are. You know, I was just waiting because I'm prepping things as we're running the intro. And did we get the Arbor at Avamere Court in there for this week?
I didn't. I needed to. I meant to do that, and for some reason,
it's okay.
The immediate pushed out the important. But the Arbor at Avamere there in Salem is a great place, and we've both spent some time. You spent quite a bit of time.
Yeah, that's where my mama was with her Alzheimer's. So we're just so thankful for all of our sponsors, everybody here on the Experience Local. Live with Russ and Scott, and thank you for being with us. We jumped right into that, but I wanted to say that we just appreciate all of them, and the same parent organization is over the Albany Avamere, as well as Avamere, the Arbor at Avamere Court in Kaiser, and two amazing adult senior living organizations. And the Arbor is a memory care that is amazing care for your loved ones. It's not like the old days. Someone told me the other day, Scott, you know, I don't want to put away my parents. You're not putting them away. What you're doing is you're actually elevating them to wonderful care, people that love them, that you can go as often as you want. You can be there as much as you want. So you're not sending them anywhere. And I think that is something that we have to get over, that whole misconception. But anyway, thanks to all of our sponsors today. Scott, how are you doing today? How's your experience in life?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm excited because we get to talk with Stephen Hodges today, and he is one of our sponsors. And Boson Hub is his company, and supporting Kicking Cancer, which has been a guest here on our show as well. And so, it's fun when you get to see these things all link and tie in together. And that's what it's all about here, the Believers in Business, as we talk about Christians in the business world.
Yeah, no, totally. And, I am so thankful for people like Stephen who help us to elevate amazing nonprofit organizations like Kicking Cancer. They support me. In fact, during my first live stream, the founder, Baron Robinson, was calling me during the live stream because I'm doing a live radio show with them today. And they have sponsored me and are supporting me. And it means a lot because I tell you, cancer takes a lot out of you, not only health, emotionally, financially. So it's a blessing. They are just a blessing. So thank you, Stephen, for that. And just want to remind everybody here on the Experience Local, we are all about believers in business, people doing amazing things in the local community. And we're here every Monday live at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time or 11 a.m. Texas Standard Time. And we are here for your viewing and listening pleasure. That's right. We go live, but then it sits on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube forever. And it converts to audio podcast. And this show broadcasts on the Experience Radio Network. So you want to check that out as well And the best way to do that, because of Scott's amazing help, is to go to the local.theexperience.video, local.theexperience.video, right there on your screen. Or if you're listening, just hear that and jot it down, local.theexperience.video. And that's all the information about this show, our other shows, and Scott and I. And Scott's got the Waco experience going on these days you want to hear about. And just really excited for the opportunity to do the show every week with you, Scott.
There's something new on the website too that people will want to pay attention to. Some people want to support the experience in Russ and myself, specifically Russ, but they're not really wanting to or able to step into the full sponsorship. So we have a new way to be able to support. So there's a QR code, but if you go to local.theexperience.video and you can click on the support tab, that will take you to a page that Russ has set up. So you can make a one-time or an ongoing contribution to support the experience and the experience local.
And we would really appreciate that. Whether it's $10, $25, $50, whatever it is, usually everybody can afford a little something. And a lot of people say, well, I can't really be a sponsor because that's more money. And so, but we would love for you to be a sponsor as well. And there's actually a waiting list on this show. So if you are interested in that, please contact us. We also have the Experience Live with Russ and Scott on Wednesdays that you're welcome to sponsor as well. So thank you for all of that. And we're just grateful to Stephen and people like him. And I think we should get Stephen in. Let's
do it, because he just has got so many irons in the fire.
Oh my goodness, that is for sure. Let's bring him in. Mr. Stephen Hodges. How you doing, buddy? Well, we can't hear you, but you're looking great.
Maybe that.
And this office that you're in was one of those irons in your fire for a little while.
Yeah, that was fun. I decided, you know what, that perfectly good garage in my backyard needs a little bit of a haircut and a lot of an updo. So then magically there's a second story that went on it. It just goes boop, boop, and there he goes, just like that.
Boop, boop, boop.
Yeah, that was fun to definitely do things outside of my wheelhouse and realize that there are professionals for a very good reason.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Well, hey, Stephen, let's back up. Well, let's find out, who is Stephen Hodges and what in the world are you up to?
Approximately 6'1" is what I'm up to in most cases. Sometimes
I can vouch for that.
Let me see here. I am first and foremost a follower of Jesus Christ. That is more and more as I'm getting older, a bigger part of my life. Became a believer, really started walking with the Lord about a decade ago. And I am a husband. So great wife, Ashley. She's just amazing. We love to go on our little adventures together, big adventures together. We have two boys, Noah and Jeremiah. So, I mean, that is the order of priority, and I take that really seriously. And it's really difficult, especially like last night. I don't know what time I woke up, and I don't know if that was the morning or if that was the night, but that's what happens when you have two young kids at home. And then after that, I'm a senior instructor of business, which makes me sound really cool, at Oregon State University. So I teach the introduction to business course. That's for most students, it's a year-long experience. So a ton of mentorship. My classes are like 30 to 32, 36 students. Really get to know my students really well. A lot of mentorship that goes on there. And then I run Boson Hub Digital Development. That is my outlet of a lot of the creativity. We are probably up to 150 clients. We do everything from PPC ad management. We do everything from all sorts of, I'm doing like a lot of AI stuff now with search engine optimization, which is great, where it's like, how are you aggregated on like Bing AI? That's the reason why we do what we do. We build websites. We build a lot of websites. We do hosting. We do maintenance. We just like to be the go-to team. If you need somebody to be like, just take care of this for us or partner with us wherever we're at. Effectively getting to the point that we're just like one step below like a fractional CMO for hire type thing, just one step below that. And then, run the Bad Ideas Garage. That's still cooking. We might hit 3,000 subscribers this year, which is great. We have a really cool project that I've been doing on Wednesday nights. Every other Wednesday night, we call it Daddy Car Club. So we're out there with other dads that have young kids, kind of sort of as a ministry, but just a time for us where I bring food and I bring babysitting. For it's like we don't want to put pressure on our spouses around anyone for us to go do a hobby, because it's very much a hobby. It's been a really good learning opportunity for me and a couple of my friends from church and otherwise to just go work on something with our hands. I think that's something important for us to go do in a structured environment that's like, we're not going to be gone all Saturday. Saturday's for the family. It's on Wednesday night and it's for an hour and a half. And then we get some pizza and go home with some heartburn, but a lot of good memories. So that's kind of what we've been doing. Gosh, that's what I've been doing for like the last year. It's it sounds like a lot now that I'm talking like
it is a lot. And I've been fortunate to be able to be involved with you on a couple of different levels. Some volunteer work where we met at Young Entrepreneurs Business Week, which is business camp for high school students, now Oregon Business Academy, which is a fabulous organization. We've done work together through Bosun Hub.
Yeah.
And I've also been able to work with your students in some of the projects that they're doing where they're using the Makers Lab and building products and doing the whole thing. Let's talk about some of these student involvements that you're in.
Oh, yeah. Well, I just want to say thanks for that. And Russ has come as well. Gosh, he came up to Salem just kind of on a whim. I'm like, hey, Russ, we had a speaker come out, and I was like, I should have thought of you in the first place, but I was like, we need somebody. And Russ, you're like, yeah, let's do this. And
it was awesome.
We ran this high school business camp when Young Entrepreneurs Week went away, which was a huge part of my life for a long time. We started our own camp called BBIA, which is Beavers in Action. And we kind of did a similar version of what YBW was, but on a much smaller scale and more like social entrepreneurship focused. But then OBA came back as like the reincarnation, and then we have both. So we have these summer camps that we run, which is a lot of fun. But what we do through Oregon State is that our students actually run real businesses. So they start in winter term with doing some business planning, and while they're learning accounting, while they're learning operations in the textbook, well, they're actually writing that part of their business plan that we have for this, and they learn practical business skills. And at the same time, we bring on alumni to campus, where it's like, we have this alumni that's going to be here on a Friday, or we have this alumni that's going to be like a business coach for like a 3-week segment, or we have this alumni that's going to be sitting on one of our panels. We have all sorts of things that we get involved with. And it's been just awesome to see the Beaver Nation is just a really cool thing to be a part of. And it's also nice to see some friends where it's like, oh, I haven't seen you in a long time. Great. Here, let's go get some free lunch. And talk about we have business plan competitions with our older students. We have career fairs. I do a lot of coaching with students about wanting to know about like meaning and purpose. But like, what am I doing here? You're spending lots of money. Well, what are you going to go do with that degree? So I do a lot of that and do a lot of connections up with different people where it's like, here, you want to know what it's like to go and work for the Fed? Here's someone who goes to work for the Fed, and it's up to the students to go and pick up the phone and go talk with that person and ask them all the questions they need to ask. And so it really is, it's a lot. It's a lot. And Gen Z is, in a lot of ways, is really, really lost. And it's almost disheartening. But when there's appropriate structure around a lot of these students, they are high flyers and just do amazing things at the same time. So sometimes it's like, would you please learn how to do Microsoft Excel? Where it's like, for us, it's like, okay, it's fine. But for once they learn how to do that, they've learned how to, build this entire huge macro in it or whatever it is. And then they do all these crazy things. So it's just, it really is amazing. And I'm very grateful I get to be a part of all of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, being involved with since we are all Oregon State grads, it's an amazing university. So thankful for that. But, let's talk a little bit about how your faith enters into all that you do, Stephen. I mean, I know that this is prime focus of your life, that you love Jesus and all that you're doing, but kind of talk a little bit about that when it comes to all this business stuff you're doing, teaching and all of that. How do you keep all of that reconciled, and how are you always putting God first in all you're doing?
I think the biggest thing is I do get to lead by example for the students, and I'm very grateful that I get to be there. And I speak very, very open about like the most important things in my life. And I ask, like, we talk about things like money. It's not money. Even some of the struggles that I have with, like, I used to idolize my time. That's not my priority. It's my faith is the most important thing in my life. And that tells me that wife, kids, students, clients, in that order. And I'm very, very clear about that. And if, especially on the clientele side, it's like most of my clients really like knowing that I am in an environment that I'm constantly learning about what is new and what's exciting. It's because I have to teach the best classes I can. And they also like to hear the ideas about the up and coming generation that is going to be the buyers, in a couple of years from now, is going to be prime buyers once they graduate and stuff. That sort of prioritization is extremely important. And I get to be very open with my students where it's like, when I'm here, I'm focused. I don't wear a smartwatch. I don't have notifications on. And right now, I mean, because I'm a computer geek, I know these things. You're getting bombarded with all of these messages that are trying to deter you from doing your best right now. And the only thing that could possibly come right now that would ever interrupt what I'm doing for you, I'm giving you my full focus, is because that's how I can show that I can love you, is if my wife calls me, not a text message, calls me. And it's because that's the type, my wife knows that. So she had a little bit of an unintended off-roading experience last year, and my phone actually rang. And it was right at the end of class. And I'm like, I got to get this. But because I had that open and frank conversation with my students, I had to end class 8 minutes early. I'm like, my wife was in a car accident. I have to go. And my students, they got it. And they got to see what Papa Bear looks like when Papa Bear's got to go. And I think that that's a very powerful example, especially for men. I think that the role of men just kind of is like this discussion and whatnot. And to show that, like, I feel like I'm a strong dad and like intentional about spending time with my kids. But when I'm at home, my phone's off. It's in the other room. It's charging or whatever. It's the same thing with them. There's nothing that's so important that needs to happen in that very moment. I'm there with my kids. I'm there with my wife, and I am not perfect at this whatsoever.
So you mentioned your boys, and you also mentioned these students, Gen Z, and saying that in a way they are lost. This Gen Z is lost.
Yeah.
So, in this new generation, I heard the new title was Gen AI, which makes sense to me, right? It's the students that are being raised up now. That this is your boys. So, what do you see as important to share with people who are parents or grandparents today of those young children to help not let them end up the same as what you're seeing with your students?
Extreme intentionality about technology usage. I cannot stress that enough. I literally don't, my watch that I have is the watch that I wore in high school. If I wear a watch at all, it's like, do you need to have, and for like some, like my brother wears a smartwatch because he's diabetic, right? So he gets his, like, all of his stuff is right there. It's really easy for him. I get it. But it's like, I talk with my students about this. Like, do you need that? It's because that little buzz, that has just distracted you from that intentional conversation with that person or from studying. And it's those little micro habits that are informed by really, really good structure. So for example, like this space, when I'm here, I'm working, but we've had to like get like a mindset change around here, is because I just downloaded Farm Simulator. So I come up here and now play Farm Sim with my kid. But when I'm in here, all of this is off. It's because otherwise I'm going to be thinking about it when I'm looking at it. Right. And so things like artificial intelligence, these are amazing tools. You do not have to be scared about them, but there needs to be insane amounts of intentionality, both for yourself and also for your loved ones. Things like cell phones with kids, way longer than you think for somebody to have their own technology autonomy. It's because for our brain science, we know things like dopamine and serotonin and what that does with like notifications. And on your technology, it's like help your kid set up their computer when they're in college to turn off all of those notifications except for the ones that are important. With AI and things like that, it's like you should have the passwords to absolutely everything for your spouse, 100%. You should have your passwords for everything for your kids, 100%. It's because it could be a very, very quick stumbling block. And I know this comes off sounding very, very harsh, but I know how these tools work. It's because I'm a software developer. I know how I run ads. I know how these things work and what they do. And so you don't have to be afraid. Mom, dad, grandparents, friends, family, do not have to be afraid. AI is great. It also raises the standard of what gets turned in. So my students, if they have just like something that's just, I don't know what to do, or there's like just like run-on sentences. Like, why did you not put that into Bing AI? I mean, it's literally integrated into your subscription that Oregon State University gives you with Copilot. There's no excuse that you're not using that tool. If you're not, I mean, that's laziness if you're not doing that. So I teach you to use this, and if you chose not to do that, that's on you. So these tools are amazing and wonderful, but at the same time, get outside, turn off your phone, like literally being outside, hyperconnectivity, and all of these ideas that exist. The problem is it's creating analysis paralysis where people are insanely lonely and are lost.
Yeah. You know what's so important about that, and the words that you use, Stephen, and that is we need to use those tools, not let them use us. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's so important, like when it comes to intentionality, what are you choosing to do? How are you using these tools? People will say to me, oh my goodness, you know, this social media is horrible and there's only bad stuff on there. Well, that's actually not true, because sometimes on social media that people think are horrible, I find out that I need to pray for somebody, or there's something really important going on that is maybe the only way they can get the word out to a lot of people. There's always good things that you can use those for, but you have to differentiate that and be intentional about that. And I think when it comes to, you have grouped it all together, and I'm just want to just extend your time on this topic, and that is our faith and our family and all that we're doing with our business. If we are not intentional, it is going to start using us and we are going to get off track. But we're missing out if we don't take advantage, like you said, of these amazing tools, right?
Exactly. So for example, one of the things that I have Bing, and I have it look at different verses when I read what's called the Bible recap in the morning, and Terry Lee Cobble does a devotional, and then I listen to the audio Bible as I'm driving. It's a great way to drive and listen. It's all hands-free, all of that stuff. But if there's something that stuck out to me, it's all voice controlled. I can ask Bing to go and look at a specific commentary. Now, if you don't know how to use the tool, it'll just kind of make some sort of aggregate, but it's like you learned how to do the long division before you learned how to use the calculator. If you can be like, I would like the Matthew Henry commentary of this, and it can read that to you. Or could you be like, can I look at this type of lens of this type of eschatology, or this type of like Calvinism, or whatever it is? I know enough of those basic topics that you can ask it to do that and be like, oh, from this lens. If you don't know those things, it'll just kind of give a commentary. And it's important to understand that AI is not perfect whatsoever, but that's just like one tool that I use. Or I have it do things like I make a lot of songs. I have it make, like right now, and for anyone who's listening, if you make a donation to your favorite nonprofit, or even if you become a supporter of the show, I will make you an AI generated song about whatever you want, and things like that, where it's like, it's fun. There's all sorts of ethical considerations about, well, where is that coming from? And glad to have a longer conversation about that. But in those types of situations, it's like, that is a tool that you could bless your community with it. And it's really fun. And it's something that my son and I get to do together. And so those are just two really easy ways where those tools can definitely be used for nefarious purposes almost immediately, but a little bit of guidance and a little bit of structure. And then also time limits. I put very, very strict time limits on the app. Like, for example, it's because Facebook, like I'll scroll Facebook Marketplace for cars way longer than I need to. I don't have to go to the car lot to be a stumbling block. It's right here in my pocket. I really want to go take a look at that Volvo 240 that somebody turned into a convertible. Why? Why not? What I really need to be doing is I probably need to be praying more, and I probably need to go back to sleep. Like, those are the types of things that I need to be doing. So guidance with that, turn off your phone, but when you're there, you can use it for the glory of God really easily.
Yeah.
So today's guest on The Experience Local, our believer in business, Stephen Hodges of Bosun Hub Digital Development. We're talking right now about some of this AI stuff, Stephen. I do find it helpful too, as I was reading in John, and it talks about in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and then it talks about he was the light of the world, and the darkness didn't comprehend it. And I thought, I know that word means this is the Greek understanding logos in order to the universe.
Yeah.
And so I thought there must be a broader definition or a deeper understanding of the word light and dark. And so I did the same thing. I used a tool like that to be able to help me understand that the light was also this enlightenment, this understanding, this comprehension, and that the darkness was also seen as a confusion or disorder. And so it helps me to understand that as I'm reading that passage. And then I'll go back to the analog notes, and I'm still writing with pen and paper in a book because, I find that helpful. But the pen in itself is a piece of technology that was probably heretical at one point.
Yeah. And it's like, exactly. Like you do not have to be afraid of any of this stuff, but having that basis and the understanding, because we know what the truth is. It is the word of God. Like we know that Christ came and dwelt. These are the types of things. So if there is something that comes out that's like, I don't think that that's true. And you can actually do that to Bing AI, which is really funny. Be like, is that true? Those are the types of things where the critical thinking, and for us to be like, okay, is this actually true? And then in that, it drives us to Christ. It drives us to get into the word for ourselves. It drives us into reading another commentary. It drives us to pray. That's where it should go. And so with all of this that's going on, you don't have to be afraid of it. It can 100% be used for the glory of God. And I love that example, Scott. Thanks.
Well, and I love what you just said, because, I think pretty much not everything maybe, but most things can definitely be used for the glory of God. There's some stuff out there that does not glorify God. I will just push that aside. But most things in our normal life, we can definitely utilize what we're doing for the glory of God. And, we're supposed to work as unto the Lord in all that we do. And so I'm just so thankful for you, Steve, and your example. Give us a little wrap up. We have 1 minute for you to tell us what your gold nugget of the day is and what you want people to remember from today's conversation. Then how do they get in touch with you?
Having the most structure that you can around your life. I cannot stress that enough. With everything that's going on, it can feel like you just splatter all over the place. But having that structure, and the one structure is the rock, is the foundation. It is Jesus Christ. I cannot stress that enough. And having your faith in that, it makes so much sense. And you can run to Christ, and you can have that as your firm foundation, as the rock, and that your house is in that foundation. It's not going to shake when the storm and when the flood comes. And then through that, if you keep that as your foundation, a lot more things will make sense, and you run back to that. And then having prioritization, but also making it a little bit of time to do things like going outside and having a little bit of fun with AI. And if anyone really wants one of those songs, begin a supporter of this show, or support your favorite nonprofit, Kicking Cancer, whatever you want. You make a donation there, you become a supporter here. I'll make you an AI generated song. We'll have a lot of fun.
There you go. Thank you so much for that. And Stephen, you're just an amazing individual, great friend. So thankful for you being on today. And we're going to say goodbye, send you to the green room, but hang tight for just a sec for us. All right.
Good to see you, Stephen.
See you guys.
Wow. Amazing.
Great advice today. Great advice. Here's somebody that's deeply embedded in tech, working with the generations in a very structured system, university system. If anyone's been there, they know it's very formalized, very structured. But apply that to your life as well, and minimize those distractions.
Absolutely. I know I need to do that. And speaking of distractions, don't forget, you go to local.theexperience.video today, and you can subscribe to our YouTube page as well. If you just want to go straight to the experience.video, that goes straight to our YouTube page. But local.theexperience.video has it all, and we would love for you to go there. Don't forget, this is on the Experience Radio Network as well, and we're here every Monday live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube at 9 a.m. Pacific and 11 a.m. Texas time. Until next week, thanks everybody for being here. We'll see you soon, I hope. All right. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for tuning in to The Experience Local with Russ and Scott. Listen to the program on Spotify or wherever you listen to fine podcasts. Join in every Monday live at 9 a.m. Pacific on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. We look forward to seeing you next time on The Experience Local with Russ and Scott.